Call the meeting to order. Welcome to the first service profile meeting of the year. I'm going to read a little bit about the meeting as we get going. So you received a service profile packet for each of the areas that will be presented tonight. The blue insert is historical and represents the performance information from the service area over the past 4 years. The white portion of the document gives current information about the service area. Pardon me. As well as performance measures and targets for the next 4 years. Staff will provide a brief overview of each service area, and there will be approximately 20 minutes for questions and discussion. While staff has identified measures and targets for the service areas, these are not the only considerations or measures used by staff in their service areas, but rather are used in conjunction with a range of other best practices to evaluate and improve service. At the end of each service profile presentation, you'll be asked to approve the current service profile, including the performance measures and strategies with targets. So I know a couple of you are new. Does that process make sense? All right, great. And we'll keep it pretty informal. I'll keep a queue of people who have questions, but as you can see, we don't have a timer tonight. So just be mindful that you're not taking up the whole time if other people have questions. It should be good discussion. So first up, it looks like public buildings and facilities.
Good evening. I'm Jeff Perry. I'm the city's facilities director, and I manage the facility management division. And so we're a centralized service within the organization, and we support the organization in a variety of different ways and at different service levels. And so tonight I'll talk a little bit about what we do, who we are, some of the priorities for our division, and some of the challenges we're facing, and also talk about our service profile information. We also, as I mentioned, we support the organization in a variety of ways, including a lot of city initiatives. So just because we maintain buildings, we actually do a lot more than that, including keeping downtown clean and vibrant, seismic projects. We've been spending a lot of time working on our critical buildings, and also our carbon footprint and our energy use. We do a lot of work around reducing our carbon footprint, and so I'll talk a little bit about that tonight too. We have 60 regular employees. We're located in Skinner Butte Park. As you can see, that's our main office. I think we have the best office in the city, but now I've announced it, everybody knows. But it's a great place to work, and we got a great team, and so I'll talk a little bit about that tonight. One of our priorities over the last few years is our strategic planning work. And so our team got together and we did a lot of work on our mission, vision, and core values. I won't get into those, but you have a copy of that for your information as well, and feel free to ask questions once the presentation's over. But a lot of it's focused on teamwork, customer service, innovation, accountability, and so really providing a great service to the organization and value for the funds that we're given. Some of our goals that came out of the strategic planning work include communication, customer service, strategic capital planning, and financial planning, and technical expertise. And one of the things that's really important for us is just that high level of service and communicating to the departments within the organization and often the community as well on different projects and things that we have going on. Likewise, the capital planning and financial planning is critical to our function because we are given a lot of funds to do a lot of good work, and we need to be accountable for that. So our division is basically really 4 different sections. It includes design and construction, which is our project management, our architects, the team that works on the building construction and remodels and whatnot. We have operations, which is like our pools maintenance, custodial, downtown maintenance, and then we have maintenance, another section that includes our trades, and I'll talk about each of these briefly, and also our utility fund, where we budget for all the utilities citywide. And then we have administration, which is me, and the staff that supports the folks that do all the work. Our budget is roughly $12 million. That includes $2.7 million for design and construction. So that's the capital fund. That's a capital transfer we get annually. And if there's funds available, we get another $800,000 through SB1. We always hope for that because we can do a lot of good work with it. Operations is about $3 million. Again, that's custodial and pools and so on. Downtown maintenance and our courier service is about $500,000. Maintenance, that's our HVAC, our plumbing, our electrical, building maintenance. 2.1 million. Administration, 900,000, and then utilities is 2.5 million, and that's an account we pay a lot of attention to because we can see a lot of fluctuation with our utility costs depending on the weather and if it's favorable or not. So our funding sources, we have a variety. Capital preservation, that's the design and construction, the 2.7 million we get annually. That's Fund 311. That comes from general fund, parking fund, atrium fund. Not that total fund, but we get funding on top. So the general fund is the 2.7 million, I'm sorry. And then we get additional funding for projects as needed through parking, atrium, and then there's also the transfer. New construction, that's Fund 323. That's from facility reserve, bond measure, tax credits, rebates, and grants. And so those are usually like our new construction projects. And then our O&M, our operations and maintenance fund 618, that's rate based. So we charge the organization rates depending on the facility and the type of operation it is. And we also get funding for that fund through good job number work. So that's not all of our departments that we support are in the rate model. Almost all general fund are, and then some non-general fund, but then some are not, and so they'll just pay us as needed on a job-by-job basis. And then finally, we have general funds, and then also facility rates that fund the downtown team and our courier service. So our design and construction team, they handle our project management. So any new construction, remodels, they do a variety of things. They also maintain a database with our facility condition assessment, so we know how much, what the condition of the facilities are and what we need to be planning for, and so on. And they get involved in a variety of projects, and so City Hall is one of those. Here's an example of a recent project we did that we were quite happy about. This is Hilliard Community Center. It's a roofing project, and it had a blue roof, of all things. And we bid that out here maybe 6 months ago or so, and the bids came in $100,000 lower than we anticipated. So we're pretty excited about that project, and it turned out really great. So our O&M section, again, includes HVAC, plumbing, electrical, painting, carpentry. One of the important things there is that they are 24/7. Not all the employees work 24/7, but we are 24/7 emergency response. So we get called day in and day out for anything and everything related to city operations. And often we'll have issues at, doors and gates, like fire facilities and things like that, where we need to jump in and take care of an issue pretty quick. So that's a critical team for us. Our operations and maintenance section. Again, this is the custodial. We have our pest management, landscaping, security systems, intrusion detection, and then pools maintenance. Not sure why our custodian there is buffing the floor in the fire station, but it was a good photo, so we took it. So. And then we have downtown operations. And actually the operations folks are, a lot of what they do you don't see, and a lot of what the downtown team does you do see. And so that's the team that cleans up downtown and does an excellent job, and they're troopers, and they do just a great job. And that includes the park blocks, parking structures. They also maintain elevators. We don't, but we manage the contract and then our courier service downtown. And their focus really is the vibrant and clean and safe downtown. One of our programs that we're especially proud of is the Hanging Basket program, where not so long ago we were using harmful pesticides, neonicotinoids that are harmful to bees, and we've moved completely away from any pesticide use. And if you look in the lower corner there, you can see those are ladybugs, and we're actually using beneficial insects this year completely, and green lacewings. And so they fight off the bad insects that we get that will kill the hanging baskets downtown. So it's a pretty neat story. We also are heavily involved in emergency management. We have incident command, a role in logistics, which is supplies for emergency responders and whatnot. All of our employees are required to be trained at some level in the incident command system, and a lot of the projects we work on include emergency preparedness, such as backup power, seismic upgrades, and things like that. Those are some photos from our Cascadia Rising event last summer. It was pretty intense, 3 days of work. We also do a lot of work around climate initiatives, and some of the things that have come out of the recent work we've done include retro commissioning, where we go in, take a look at facilities, do some retro commissioning where we analyze them to see if they're operating properly. We've done LED upgrades. We have city standards for our thermostats, so they have a little bit wider range maybe than most people are comfortable with, but we save energy that way. And we also do TBL, or triple bottom line analysis, on all of our HVAC upgrades. So rather than maybe go to gas, even if it's more efficient than what we have, we'll look at electrical and things like that. We also use a lot of technology in our work. We have, as I mentioned before, we have a condition assessment database where we track all the information on our buildings, general fund buildings, to determine when systems need to be replaced and conditions. We also have a mobile work order system. That's one of our technicians holding an iPad, and so the work orders can be dispatched directly to them in the field. We also have direct digital controls, which are the controls for HVAC and lighting in many of our buildings, so we can operate those. They shut off at night and so on. And technical training obviously is a big priority for us, so we're on the ahead of things rather than trying to learn some of that technology as it becomes obsolete. Some of the challenges, I've mentioned this at our CIP presentation, but our capital preservation gap it's a big one. The national, I have to always remember, the National Research Council recommends 2 to 4% investment in the building replacement value to maintain the facilities that we have, which represents, right now we're about 1.5%, and so we're about short $1 to $6 million annually in what's recommended to be reinvesting in our major capital projects. And so that's a big issue. What that does to us is it really shifts a lot of the work over to our maintenance team, because now they're responding to a lot of issues that maybe a system should have been replaced. A roof's leaking all the time, so they go out and repair it, every other day when maybe it just needs a new roof. And so those are priorities for us. Utilities volatility is another challenge. As you can see on some of our profile information, there's a great fluctuation in utilities depending on the weather, and so we budget for that, and we have a reserve, but that's a tough one to predict for us, and so we work really hard to maintain that account and keep it in a good place. And then aging buildings. We have elevators that are due to be replaced, and a lot in the parking garages, and even in the library we have one that we're working on replacement, believe it or not. And those are a significant investment and a direct impact to customers and community members downtown when those are not operating properly. HVAC's another one that we've seen a lot of an uptick in work on. And then pool repairs. Anything related to a pool is pretty major repair when we do those. This is an example of a chiller we replaced at Fire Station 1, just an example of an HVAC upgrade, but it's a pretty major piece of equipment we often are involved in replacing. So our service profile statistics. This is a representation or a chart of our cost per square foot of office space for operations and maintenance. So that's the 618 rate model. As you can see, it's steadily increased. That's not only because of FTE costs, but we've also seen a lot of inflation with our contractual services. So when we have to hire a contractor to do some of the work, we've really seen, we used to have kind of a $5,000 threshold where that kind of was within the budget, and it's kind of gone beyond that. We see a lot more projects that are right in the $10,000 range these days. And so again, this is the facility preservation and maintenance budget as a percentage of current replacement value. And so that's fluctuated slightly depending on what buildings we have in the inventory and things have changed, but it's hung right around 1.5%. And at a minimum, it's recommended that we should be reinvesting about 2%. And so this is another statistic we take a look at, and we pay pretty close attention to. This is the amount of time, basically, that our project managers are working on our projects in the capital budget. And as you can see, it's gone up over the last few years, but that's primarily related to some pretty big projects we have going on right now, including City Hall's one of them, and the airport terminal expansion's another one that we spend quite a few hours on working on those projects. So not finally, but this is one of our other statistics. So we do pay close attention to customer service, and we survey the organization annually. We traditionally have a pretty high statistic here. We were a little low in FY16. We had a great deal of turnover on the O&M team, and so we're working on adding those, getting those positions filled right now, and so we're optimistic that things are going to turn around on that front. So. And this is our total energy consumption per square foot for buildings covered under the rates. And so this is basically our utility costs. And you can see it fluctuates quite a bit. The linear average there is the arrow, and it's steadily decreasing. I think we've had favorable utilities for the most part over the last few years, and so we've done pretty well on that. But we continue to try and bring that number down. So on the statistics, one of the objectives we feel is completed, the custodial lead points. We actually, through our City Hall project this year, we meet all the criteria to meet the maximum number of points for that objective. So we're going to take that off in the future. And we also had another survey that we had that was not included in the statistics, but our post-project management survey for FY17, we had 88%. I thought that was a good stat, so I wanted to make sure and include that. 88% of our customers were satisfied, felt we did good or excellent work, so we were very happy to see that. So that's everything. Any questions? This is our custodial team. They sent me a couple photos, and they thought they were funny, but I kept it in there just to, I thought that was a good one. So. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions? I have a question. So, Jeff, maintenance, deferred maintenance?
Yes.
Is it just a question of general funds to do that, or is there any efficiencies or anything your department is, of course, I'm sure there are, employing to try to get those numbers up to the range that you were trying for?
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge. I mean, it is often general fund. We just need
Driven.
more general funds because they're not projects that are easily, an entire roof might be, several $100,000, and so we carefully evaluate those projects and try and hit the ones that we know are going to provide the most benefit to the organization. And so, but when we do the projects, we do really think about life cycle and what we can do in the future that'll help bring our maintenance costs down. I guess an example, we've looked at VRF systems, which are HVAC systems, and we know they cost more to maintain and they have a shorter lifespan than some of the other systems we've used in the past. So we'll take a look at that and really think about what the investment's going to be long term before we do it.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that I would mention that Jeff, that you asked a question about, Jill, is sort of how we're dealing with the deferred maintenance and backlog. And one of the things that Jeff pointed out a little bit, I think, is that we have a growing inventory of aging infrastructure. And so that's where the cost and demand. So some of the work that's happening that you're seeing at the council level around Parks and Open Space and Recreation planning includes potential replacement at some point of those facilities that will help in addressing a lot of the backlog. And so they're just trying to keep pace, but there are a lot of other things in motion that you guys get notifications about a lot in terms of the council notifications to kind of stay informed about. But all of those things connect with the work that Jeff and his team do in terms of keeping our facilities operational and running. And
So if there's an improvement, you're saying basically it might take away the deferred maintenance problem because it's now improved.
yeah, for a while.
Yeah.
The library's starting to age now too,
Right.
and so we're starting to see, like Jeff mentioned, the elevators and the replacement of those. And so we're starting, as the infrastructure ages, that's where we kind of hit this point where it starts getting a lot more expensive to maintain them. And as Jeff mentioned, a lot of cost is spent just with the staff that are trying to maintain these systems. And before we moved out of City Hall, we used to joke that it was duct tape and bubble gum keeping some of those systems running, and we weren't really that far off. And so we're not at that point. I mean, our infrastructure's in better shape than it was at City Hall for sure, but that's part of the challenges is that as the systems keep aging and trying to have enough dollars to replace those. The other thing I wanted to mention is that with the transfer, just want to remind you all that's linked to marginal beginning working capital. And so it depends on the marginal beginning working capital as to whether or not we have enough to do that full $800,000 transfer. So,
Thanks, Christy.
Another thing to add to that too, with, like when we moved out of City Hall, we reduced our maintenance costs significantly, but we also moved into, one of the buildings was 300 Country Club, the police facility, and that's not a brand new building. So,
Right.
there are existing conditions that we still need to maintain and manage facilities like that. So it actually was a pretty decent footprint, and so that number kind of fluctuates based on what we've done over the last few years.
I have a couple of questions. So for my clarification, the utility costs are for all city buildings. That's electricity, water. That's a direct cost that your department is paying?
Well,
Or is it divided up by?
We pay all of the general fund and rate, Scott here, and all the facilities in the rate model, right?
There's a few facilities that are non-general fund that pay their own, but we pay the vast majority of them. We collect rates for them, but we also pay. We're kind of like a hedge since we smooth the rates based and not have to incur the annual fluctuations.
And so we do actually pay all the bills. We use most of the bills with our rate fund, but some of them, so we track the information, just so we had to track the information too.
So then in your O&M, your maintenance work that's done to a different, the library, are those fees being paid for by the library, or is that all kind of incorporated in your budget?
So the library pays us a rate based on the square footage of the building and the type of building, and then we basically provide them the service.
So they pay a set rate each
Yeah.
year,
Yeah.
regardless of what's needed?
Exactly. And we have a reserve in our fund so we can manage, so maybe their costs are higher for us in one fiscal year. We can absorb that, and maybe they're a little lower in another year, and then we can absorb that. And so that's how we manage that.
And how is that adjusted from year to year? I mean, as one department's facilities age faster than a new city hall, I mean, how do you?
It works out pretty well based on the calculation that we have. Annually, we will have a cost of living adjustment, basically, call it to our rates. And so we'll we'll come in and talk to execs about that usually, and they'll approve a rate increase for us, or not. I mean, we've had several years where we held it flat when we could do that. And so that really helps us, adapt to changes and things like that. I don't think we've got into a facility and said, oh my gosh, we can't afford to maintain it. Maybe there's some that are a little more expensive than others, but we usually, we just do a good job of managing that, so.
And of the fees that you collect from the different varying departments for the, those things, is that included in this budget number, or is that in addition to?
It's included.
Oh,
Yeah. That's the 618 fund that we're talking about.
okay. Thank you.
So in the areas of maintenance that you're doing for the different, I guess, buildings or even the downtown, are there any areas that have significant increases and that are kind of your trouble areas that you're watching? And at what point do you decide you replace or keep repairing?
Yeah, so one that's huge is elevators. Elevators are they're a major impact to the public, and they're extremely expensive to replace. Like one elevator is probably $200,000. We have a service agreement with a contractor, and some of these elevators just challenging to keep operational. And so that's one that we're really focused on right now. We've hired consultants and done some assessments and some studies to take a look at what's the lifespan of an elevator, when should we be replacing it, and things like that. The elevator, sadly, that we have a freight elevator basically, and that was very problematic. And we've learned that just because of the use, it's just a heavy use, and we have the library relies on that to return books and whatnot, and it impacts patrons pretty significantly. And so we're really taking a look at that, and it's probably due to be replaced, or at least what they call modernization, upgraded in the next several years. HVAC's another one. We've really seen HVAC costs rise. When we had the really tough winter here a couple of years ago, we just had a large number of units fail and break down, and so we've been spending a lot of time replacing those or keeping them maintained. But that's a big one.
Are you charging the facility for that, for those increases? Are you looking budgeting for that over time and making those increases?
The way it works, it kind of we have kind of a threshold of about $5,000, and so on the maintenance side, if we can do a repair under that, then it's covered, and if it exceeds that amount, then we'll generally pay for it with our capital budget, or if it's a non-general fund building like the atrium, the airport, for instance, their own, either enterprise fund or internal service fund, they'll pay for that capital cost. And so sometimes we have to kind of negotiate and work through that. But as far as budgeting for it, we do our best. I mean, we kind of have a finite amount of money, and so it shifts kind of annually from the capital side to the O&M side, and we handle that. But preventative maintenance is a big one for us, and so the equipment that we do have, we try really hard to keep that operational and clean and running properly, and that extends the life of a lot of the things that we have. I mean, that's our priority, is the PMs that we do.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Should we do formal motions? Would anyone like to approve or move to approve the service profile for facility? Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor of approving the service profile as is, please raise your hand. It's like unanimous.
Thank you.
All right, next up is housing opportunities and economic prosperity. Whenever you're ready, go for it. My name is Amanda Noble Flannery, and I'm the Economic Prosperity Programs Manager. And you'll hear from me tonight and Stephanie Jennings about the Housing Opportunities and Economic Prosperity Service Profile. These two topics fit together hand in glove, as access to housing and employment are two fundamental elements of life. I'm going to cover the economic prosperity part, and then Stephanie will talk about housing. I'm going to give a brief context for policies, efforts, and the programs. Almost everything the city does is tied to economic prosperity. I'm going to mainly highlight the work within the Community Development Division, although I won't include much about downtown because you reviewed that service profile last year. I'll also introduce two important terms,
to keep you hip with the lingo that may come up in your future budget committee meetings with city councilors. So this most recent era of economic prosperity work really started in response to the Great Recession with both regional and city efforts aimed to enhance the economic well-being of our community. With Springfield and Lane County, we created the Regional Prosperity Economic Development Plan in 2010. It's about partnerships to create conditions that allow businesses to thrive. The important terminology for the regional work is the matrix, which is a reference to the reporting we do for the regional plan. At your places is the most recent matrix. It lists the projects we work on organized into broad categories. At 8 pages, it's quite a bit of detail. So one partnership that I'll highlight is Eugene. It's the Regional Accelerator and Innovation Network. RAIN helps startups in the creative economy grow and connect with investors. It's located just around the corner from where we're sitting at 942 Olive Street. The city contributed the building and the U of O funded its renovation. While the RAIN program is going strong and recently graduated its 4th cohort, it is still in the fledgling stages. Its ability to generate long-term results is dependent on ongoing state funding, which is a challenging model. So in addition to the matrix, we have the baker's dozen, so dubbed by Councilor Evans. These are a list of 13 city-specific items we presented to council in the summer of 2015. It represents a proactive approach in specific areas to intensify our efforts and deepen our conversations with council. So far, council has had work sessions on targeted industry conversations and investment in creative industries. I've already talked about RAIN. And the Downtown Fiber Project is a key focus for our staff, working with LCOG and eWeb to construct the network using existing underground infrastructure. We're working through the many administrative details and hope to begin construction this winter. Funding will be with a combination of downtown urban renewal funds, telecom funds, and if our grant application is successful, federal funds. Another donut that is a key focus for our staff is the eWeb redevelopment, implementing the Riverfront Master Plan, the community's vision. The parkland, plazas, green streets, historic assets, new housing and commercial space will influence our future tax revenue, economy, ecology, and overall identity. We're really excited about this project. The final aspect that I want to cover is our programs, and this slide shows a few of the businesses we've worked with. The programs provide a strong foundation for improving the economic status and self-sufficiency of local residents by helping small local businesses. We provide gap financing for job creation, such as to Wild Time Foods, makers of Grizzly's granola, and to Arcimoto, the local electrical car company. We provide short-term tax exemptions in West Eugene to encourage investment, long-term job creation, and increased tax revenue. For example, Snow Temp has added 19 jobs so far and completed a $15 million investment. We also provide brownfield site assessment to encourage targeted redevelopment. We use grant funds to help determine if a property is contaminated, and if so, identify a plan to address the contamination so that redevelopment can take place. And we use this for the new RAIN building. We also fund micro-enterprise training at NEDCO. These are classes and one-on-one coaching that is free to low-income Eugene residents. So that was a glimpse of the important work that we do. Another handout is at your places on the city's economic prosperity work. And remember, the keywords are the matrix, the baker's dozen. And you'll be set. I'll pass it on to Stephanie.
Samantha. My name is Stephanie Jennings. I'm the grants manager for the City of Eugene, and I've been working for the City of Eugene for the past 11 years. Amanda has been with the city the same amount of time. So I manage the Housing Opportunities team, and we have a team of 4 people that manage a series of different programs, a suite of different programs. And so by far the most significant area of our responsibility is managing the federal HUD funds that we receive as an entitlement jurisdiction. And so each year, the City of Eugene receives grant funding from HUD through the Community Development Block Grant and the Home Investment Partnership Program. This past year, we received about $2.2 million through those programs in new money. The other programs that this team manages include our local incentive programs. The City of Eugene by code has a system development charge waiver program in place, and then also a tax exemption program that is specifically for low-income rental housing. That is different than the multi-unit property tax exemption program. City of Eugene also has some ordinances addressing closure of manufactured home parks and or condos. We don't see very many of those these days, but should one arise, we would play a role in managing that. And then lastly, we also support housing policy conversations, and one of the most significant pieces of work has been the ongoing support for the Intergovernmental Housing Policy Board. So I'm going to walk you through a little bit about the world of HUD funding, which is a language unto itself, but one that I feel like I've gotten down over the past few years. So every 5 years, we are required to develop a very extensive consolidated plan. And so the process of completing this plan this past go-round actually took 15 months. And so this is a sort of very broad brush of the different steps in the process. There is a whole stage of evaluation and needs assessment, and then you take that information and develop your strategic plan, which essentially broadly outlines the areas that you want to pursue over the next 5 years. This consolidated plan each year is supplemented by an annual action plan. Because Congress allocates funding to the home and CDBG programs on an annual basis, you can't decide where to allocate that money until you know how much money you are going to receive. So each year we do an action plan to supplement the consolidated plan, and then at the end of each year, we prepare a consolidated annual performance and evaluation report known as the CAPER. So just real briefly, the community engagement, we tried a lot of different methods to try to get out to the community. We went to different boards and commissions and did 16 in-person consultations. We did a survey of service providers. We did direct engagement with the community residents. We also utilized the results of an extensive survey of affordable housing residents. And then we formed an advisory committee to help us sort through all of the information that was brought together and decide on the strategies that were ultimately going to be presented to council. The plan was adopted by council in 2015. It is the Eugene Springfield Consolidated Plan, so it was also adopted by Springfield City Council, and it was adopted unanimously. The plan identifies specific priority needs within the community, and so we identified 6 areas of priority needs. And so some of these are population-based, and then some of them are kind of topically based. So the first 4, we identified that a need among low-income renters in our community. We have a very high proportion that are experiencing housing hardships, including cost burdens, overcrowding, or poor housing conditions. We also have a surprisingly significant number of low-income homeowners, and this includes people who live in manufactured home parks, who own their unit but are renting their space there. We also, of course, identified people experiencing homelessness in our community as a priority needs population. And then the 4th area is that we have a variety of what HUD calls special needs populations, and it can include elderly, persons with disabilities, youth, children, etc. And so all of these different populations are specifically assessed and identified within the consolidated plan. We also identified a need for more employment opportunities. So you see the intersection here with the job creation portion of the work. And then the last area is recognizing that we do have areas of higher concentrations of low-income poverty in our community, and HUD wants us to identify and consider how to help those specific areas of our community in addition to the different groups of people. Council adopted 4 specific strategies to address affordable housing. And then the top 2 areas, increase the supply of affordable housing and rehabilitate existing housing, are where the vast majority of the resources go that we receive from HUD. And then the third and fourth areas, the third area, we do continue to provide a little bit of down payment assistance to help low-income people attain homeownership. And then the fourth area is really focused on sort of a broad set of policy issues, which include fair housing. How do we continue to expand the supply of affordable housing? How do we work with other funders and jurisdictions and agencies to increase the efforts to address affordable housing? The second set of strategies are our community development strategies, and they fall into 3 broad areas. Support the human services delivery system. So the City of Eugene utilizes CDBG funds to both support human service operations and also to support human service facilities, to actually make improvements to the physical places where these services are provided. And I came to present to you all back in the spring a little bit about this area when you were talking about human service funding. The second area is promote economic development and employment opportunities. This is through the Business Development Fund, which is a revolving loan fund that focuses on creation of jobs accessible to low-income persons and microenterprise training. And then the third area is make strategic improvements, investments to improve low-income areas. And so there's a wide variety of projects that can fit into that last area. And as I mentioned before, these are 5-year goals. So we have just completed the first year of this 5-year period. This graph is to help you kind of get an overall sense of what our funding trend is with the federal funds. Over this period, the federal funds had dropped by 33%. This does not account for inflation or the increasing costs of doing projects. And so while we feel like we are able to make very good outcomes with the limited resources, we struggle to try to address the growing needs that we see in the community for affordable housing and other issues. So I want to just talk a little bit about some of the outcomes that we were able to achieve in one specific area. This is the area of creating new affordable housing. This is the area where we actually leverage the most amount of money with our limited resources from outside of our community. So in most of these cases with these projects, the City of Eugene is providing the land. We have a land banking program for affordable housing where we actively go out and try to find incredibly suitable sites for the development of affordable housing. We provide gap financing, and then we're coupling that with our local incentives, the tax exemption program, and the system development charges. And then the developer is going to the state and applying for low-income housing tax credits, which provides the vast majority of the funding for these projects, but they could not move forward with those applications without the gap funding that's provided by the City of Eugene. The challenges is that process is extremely competitive at the statewide level. So if we get a tax credit project each year, we feel like we're doing pretty good in the statewide competition, but that's not nearly enough to meet the need that we see in the local community. But we are able, through this pipeline, to develop housing affordable to people with incomes below 50% of area median income. Frequently, we see that Those base rents are further supplemented by tenant-based rental assistance that individuals might be able to see. So sometimes you see those units serving people at much, much lower income levels. We are able to disperse affordable housing throughout the community. This has been a long-term policy goal of the city, is to try to create opportunities in every neighborhood and to have a no undue concentration in any one particular area. I've talked a little bit already about how we offer the land and couple it with our local resources. One of the federal programs, the home program, requires a 25% match for every home dollar that is put in. And so we utilize our local resources to fulfill that matching requirement. And through these efforts, we are able to create multiple housing types for low-income persons, people with special needs, and people experiencing homelessness. So 3 recent developments that I would call to your attention. Stellar Apartments, located on City View, Willackenzie Crossing, located on Willackenzie Road, and then Bascom Village, which is located on County Farm Road in North Eugene. And all of these are also very consistent with the city's growth goals in trying to utilize the land available in an efficient way. Each of these developments also have community center, open space, playgrounds to really try to make it a welcoming and an environment for the people that live there and compatible with the surrounding areas. There are multiple conversations, ongoing conversations to continue to figure out ways to expand affordable housing opportunities. The Intergovernmental Housing Policy Board meets on a monthly basis. We have a home consortium governing board in collaboration with Springfield. We have a CDBG advisory committee that specifically advises each year on the allocation of CDBG funds. And then lastly, there is a Lane County body, the Lane County Poverty and Homelessness Board, that is also engaged in conversations about how can we better address the needs we see within our community. So with that, I'll just turn it over to you guys for any questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any questions?
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So in the plan, you've addressed a lot of things surrounding demand for jobs. What about on the supply side? Have you looked at investment in training or developing the workforce to meet the existing demand?
I think one of the baker's dozen items was workforce related, as I recall. And we partner in a lot of our economic development efforts. You know, we have limitations. You know, the general funds basically funds one economic development staff person within our community development division. A lot of our economic development staff are through the urban and rural districts or CDBG programs. And so workforce is not something that the city directly gets involved with, but we partner with like the Lane Workforce Partnership. So we've done sector strategies work with the technology sector, and we uncovered what the needs are of the tech sector. For example, 4GA, the university, are not spinning out the kinds of skills that are necessary to translate into the tech world. So, and so 4GA has developed programmatic curriculum changes. The university has actually revamped their whole computer science curriculum to match the needs of the private sector. So Lane Workforce Partnership is basically the entity that is working on those efforts, and we do partner with them, sponsor events, job fairs, those kinds of things that we partner with. But we don't do job readiness directly, we do it through partnerships. We're currently working on the food sector, where we've moved on now past the tech sector, and we're now working through the same issues. What are the new needs of the food sector? And it's not just employment. Employment's always high on the list, job skills, job readiness, but there's other things too, permits, regulations, all kinds of things we're working to streamline for certain sectors that are target key industries for us.
Thanks.
I have a question about housing. So I realized a lot of what you talked about was HUD housing, which affordable housing is a specific definition, correct? I've also heard counselors talk about living wage housing. Does that ring a bell? And is that anything that the city is able to work on, or how does that integrate into this?
So there's a lot of different terms, and I think and you see a lot of different definitions. And so the affordable housing, most of the housing that we develop or support the development of is targeted to people earning 50% of area median income, and those are considered to be people with very low incomes. But I would say that those are folks that are mostly working. When you're talking about between 30 and 50% of area median income, that's above a Social Security monthly income. So really, when you're kind of talking about folks that are existing on a kind of a Social Security or disability payment, they're in the 0 to 30% range. Then when you get above that, between 50 and 80%, that's considered low income, and we can still serve that population with our CDBG funds. And we tend to sort of see more support going towards helping people to get into homeownership, as opposed to just creating affordable housing opportunities, because there's a lot more opportunities available in the market for the 50 to 80% range. And then when you go up to the next level, which is often referred to as moderate income people, in our community, I would define that as 80 to 120% of the area median income. And those are folks that are, working, have fairly good salaries, but we are seeing an increasing level of housing affordability challenges for that segment of our population as well.
And if I could add to that, the workforce housing equation is very difficult because think about the amount of subsidy that has to go into affordable housing. It's 50-60% subsidy into some of those projects. To make that next level up to workforce housing with no tools and no subsidies is very difficult. We have some incentives for market rate housing, for example, MUPD downtown, which takes a market rate project and gives it enough incentive to make it actually go forward. The tools necessary to address the workforce housing, that moderate income housing, are not available, and so we're going to have to get very creative to crack that nut because it's really going to be challenging. So that's one of the things we're talking about, but it's not going to be easy.
Mm-hmm. Other questions? Scott?
I'm curious, you mentioned that to get the state funds, that if we were to be able to do that one time a year, that you thought that was good. Are you tracking what that looks like across the rest of the state in terms of distribution, or is it spread around, or?
We look at that every year, and because we do want to make sure that we are getting a reasonable proportion of that money, and to understand if we're not receiving it, why. So my understanding is that the state has enough money to fund 9 projects in the state this year. And so that just kind of gives you a sense of how far these dollars have to go and how much of a mismatch there is between the demand for affordable housing and the resources that are available.
Are they assigned the other 8 pretty much around the state, or is it?
Well, so the way that the pot is divvied up at the statewide level, they have 3 pools that people compete within, or projects compete within. So there is a pool for the Portland metro area. There is a pool for jurisdictions that receive home dollars, and there's only 3 jurisdictions that receive home dollars. So Salem, Corvallis, and Eugene, Springfield. And then there is a pool for the rural areas. And so as you can imagine, the competition within the Portland metro area is incredibly intense, but thankfully we don't have to compete against those projects. And those projects tend to have access to many more resources than the resources we have. And they need less subsidy because their average rents are a bit higher, which enable those projects to be paid for with a little bit more of the rental stream that will be coming in once they get developed. Does that answer your question? Yeah.
I have a question. So it sounds like a lot of your funding and other things are governed by statewide, you're kind of locked in by what you're able to offer, what services you have. Within your budget, would there be a benefit to additional revenue or a quantifiable harm to a decrease in revenue? I mean, where do you stand from a cost benefit within your department?
I would say that these programs are very scalable. We could, with more revenue, with more resource, we could do more. While I did in this presentation, just with the limited time available, just focus on the largest projects we do, we also do a lot of acquisition rehabilitation projects where we're putting in 70 to 80% of the resource for the project. And so more money would enable us to do more smaller projects. It's when you're getting to these big projects, it's hard to do them without having some more significant resources. There are some other state resources. So the competitive program I described is for the 9% low-income housing tax credit. There is another program called the 4% low-income housing tax credit, which is not competitive, but it requires a much bigger subsidy gap to fill for those kinds of projects. So if we had more local resources, we might be able to go after that kind of funding. So yes, I mean, and there's also certain things that we're actually not able to do with the federal funds. So for example, just a small example, we do accessibility improvements for people who own their own homes or live in manufactured homes. We have an aging population. We have a lot of people who need those kinds of improvements so that they can stay in their homes. We sometimes get requests for rental units. However, HUD requires us to determine that 51% of the tenants in the entire building are low income in order to assist that one person who might need an accessibility improvement in their rental unit. And there's also a lot of other federal requirements that make it difficult to do some projects.
So following up on that, looking at the budget numbers from 14 to 16, there's significant increase in, to 16. Are you seeing a correlating improvement in housing, in units, in people served, in return on that investment?
So some of that that's budget expenditures, and some of that budget expenditure comes from program income that we receive. So some of the money that we are able to expend is money that we've been recycling through our revolving loan funds. It's not necessarily new money. We are stepping up our efforts on a variety of different levels to try to get to the 5-year goals that we've discussed, and we're making good progress at this point. Yeah.
On that same note, can you talk about the fluctuation in the general fund revenue?
Yeah, the FY14, yeah, the 800,000, that includes the sale proceeds of about $800,000 that we got from selling parking lot just across from the old city hall to the shed. And those funds were transferred to the city hall fund. They don't live in community development. As much
We did all the work, we just didn't get the money.
Okay, and in general, what are the revenues there come from that line? So like FY16, what's that revenue from?
I have that. Right. Do you want to shout it out?
I'd like to say the difference between 15 and 16, 14 and 15 are actual numbers. When you get into 16 and 17, we're getting the budgeted number.
Okay.
This budgeted is higher rate. A lot of it is big developments that have been put off and now are coming to fruition in 16 and 17.
And that is, we kind of tend to think, if you look at the action plan, you'll see the allocations, and that really sort of tells you what we're receiving and where we're putting it towards. HUD has a lot of requirements that we have to meet before we can actually commit the money to a project, and then sometimes we're waiting on the state money to come in, and so it can be a little bit of a lag until the year you receive the money, you're trying to set the project up, you're selecting the project, you're financing it and funding it, and then getting the other resources, and then it gets developed, and then you get to reimburse. We work on a reimbursement basis for all of the resources, which also helps to ensure that we have a very high level of oversight for the work that's occurring using these dollars.
I think what you'll find in all of these programs, we didn't talk too much about the revolving loan funds, but for example, our business revolving loan fund is a fund of about $4.5 million and has made $20+ million in loans. So you're recycling the same dollar over and over, and they're federal funds. That leverage, plus you have bank financing and all these other things that you're leveraging, and I think a really key message in most of our program is the leverage. So you might only see $2 million in CDBG home funds, but that might leverage another $10 or $15 million in projects. And so we have to get really creative on how we use the funds so that we get the most leverage. And the revolving loan funds are highly leveraged, meaning they're very impactful, and the money comes back, and we make good loans, and they're secured, and it becomes like an enterprise within our service area that I think is very successful, because we're, instead of giving money away, we're recycling it and using the same dollars.
I know, to answer one part of your question, the enterprise zone fees that they pay at application is part of the general fund revenue. Okay. It's a small part of, I'm not sure exactly what else is in that 30,000.
Lease on parking.
Great, thank you. Patricia is our financial compliance officer extraordinaire, so great, thank you.
And I'm Denny Bro, the Planning and Development Director, so in case anyone's wondering, I didn't introduce myself, sorry.
Other questions? No? I'd entertain a motion to approve the service profile.
Do approve.
Move to approve. Do I have a second? Seconded. All in favor, raise your hand. Great, thank you very much. All right, whenever you're ready.
All right, hello there, everybody. So I'm Mark Whitmill. I'm the building official here in Eugene. One of the best jobs in the world. Joining me tonight, is Tim Westerman. He's our business manager. Michelle Nicholas, compliance manager, and Kyle Richardson, who is our permit review manager. We don't have a lot of time to kind of talk about our program, so I want to try to run through this pretty fast, but I did want to start with kind of a high-level look at what it is we do and why we exist, and then drill down a little bit. The first version of the building permit office or building department was the Office of the Building Inspector in Eugene, which was established in 1908. There were fewer than 9,000 people here at that time, only a handful of automobiles. We're just starting to think about paving roads and streets. But even at that time, it was important for there to be oversight over what was built in our city. So the role of that first building inspector was entirely really about safety, public health and safety. So he's worried about fire safety, safe electrical installations, those kind of go hand in hand, and sanitation issues, making sure that buildings were connected properly to sewers and that sort of thing. Obviously, over the many years since then, the role of the building department has evolved and expanded. That's been due to a lot of changes to just minimum standards for construction, but also changes to priorities and interests and things important to society and important to our community. So we're still very much about safety. For example, we make sure that buildings built in Eugene are designed to withstand the earthquake that we're expected to experience at some point. So we're all about safety, but we're also now more and more about issues around, if you think about maybe overall public welfare. So we're administering regulations around energy efficiency, sustainability, livability. We have a rental housing program where we help rental owners and renters work through issues around minimum housing standards. And we have staff that respond to citizen concerns about neighborhood nuisance issues and livability issues. So the role's expanding quite a bit over time. But if you kind of boil it down to what it is basically that we do, the phrase that always works for me is we help people build good buildings here in town. And in doing that, we really serve what I think of as two pretty distinct separate groups of customers. We have long-term customers. They're all of the current and future occupants and users of buildings in town. So many of our customers aren't even born yet. And really, if you look at our mission statement there on the screen, that's really mostly about those long-term customers. It's about the quality of what is ultimately built in our community. But we also have short-term or immediate customers. We have developers, small business owners, homeowners, architects, contractors, everybody involved in building a building, remodeling a building, opening a business in town. The legislature in 2013, I think, passed a bill that declared that it was in the best interest of the state of Oregon that development activities here proceed in a manner that's as quick and efficient as possible, and that requires flexible and responsive systems for administration of building codes. We've, I think, had that philosophy well in advance of that law being passed, but we have been and continue to look at our processes from the perspective of how can we be as easy as possible to work with to support local business. So if you kind of look just at the building process or building process steps in real general terms, there's a concept, an owner's concept that develops into a design. That design is submitted to our office for review. We verify that the design meets minimum standards. A permit's issued, construction begins, and our staff are out in the field witnessing the work as it goes on to make sure that it's done in accordance with the approved design. And then ultimately, we grant final approval and allow occupancy and use of the building. So if we touch on each one of those steps real quick. In the design phase, we've made a real concerted effort to focus on collaboration, to try to make our staff available during the design process to help as we can from a regulatory perspective during design. So we offer what we call project consultation meetings. Somebody at any stage of their design can schedule a meeting with essentially any number of our staff at no charge to come in and talk to us about their project, ask us questions. We identify any red flags that might be there, opportunities, challenges, and hopefully stave off surprises that would otherwise come up during the actual permitting process. Super effective, super popular. You can see last year we did 110 of those free project consultation meetings. During the plan review process, when plans come in for review, that graph there shows numbers of permits that were reviewed and approved through our office over the last few years. You can see in FY16, almost 13,000 permits with a building valuation of over $143 million. In the field, that equated to our job of witnessing the work That pie chart there that you can't read real well, that breaks down the inspections we did by type, but the big numbers there on the top, we did over 58,000 individual inspections last year, which equates to over 220 every day. And then ultimately, that results in approval for a lot of good buildings and good businesses here in town. There's a few examples there on the screen. So with that, I'll hand off to Tim to talk more about our fund.
Sure. Thank you, Mark. My apologies in advance. I've never used a clicky. So the construction permit and rental housing fund is composed of two sub-funds that are wrapped together for reporting purposes. We've got the construction fund, which is known as Fund 151, and the rental housing fund, which is Fund 152. Fund 151 contains construction permits, and that's in charge of administering both the state and the local code. And Fund 152 is charged with administering our local rental housing code. Both of these sub-funds are special revenue funds, and they're wholly fee supported. Fund 151 charges fees and pass-throughs to administer the state and local building codes. Fund 152 charges a fee of $10 per unit by code, and those funds are used for the administration of the local rental housing program. Costs for the program are as expected for most city funds, with approximately 80% being spent on personnel and the rest on M&S and overhead. The reason they're special revenue funds is for Fund 151, state law dictates that fees collected under state building code can only be spent on that program, and city practice restricts the spending for Fund 152 to that program as well. As state code funds can only be spent on the state program, we review the cost of our services and annually right-size fees, so we're recouping the cost of providing the service while maintaining a 6 to 8 month reserve. This higher than usual reserve, along with some contingency spending authority, is there to help absorb short-term increases and downturns that naturally occur in the building cycle. To illustrate that point, one of these is a chart of monthly revenues for Fund 151 over the last 10 years. And one of them is someone actively having a heart attack. My apologies, I think it's easy to tell. With the volatility that the construction fund experiences, we try to adopt a staffing model best described as shoot for the middle. It can make managing the operation difficult. In times of high growth, we utilize third-party contractors to review plans and help us with inspections, adding FTE only when absolutely needed. And as you'll see next, and I lost my place. Sorry. In prolonged downturns, we are forced to make staffing adjustments. What you see here is the impact of the housing boom on the division. I'd mentioned the management challenge that volatility presents, and it's particularly true for staffing. We operate with the charge to meet the demands and expectations of builders in our community, which include providing reviews and permits in a timely and professional manner. Our staff are technically trained people that are hard to hire and train quickly. Because of this and the annual budget cycle, we generally are slightly behind the curve. As you can see, the commercial boom of FY14 took the fund up above its targeted reserve level. The targeted reserve on that screen is the dotted gray line. We contributed marginally in FY15 and FY16, but not nearly as much as FY14. Because most of our revenue comes from fees based on the valuation of a project, the impact of large projects cannot be understated. These are the projects that change the skyline of our city and have impacts far beyond our building division. As you can see here, the Hatfield-Dowland Center was the largest project in FY12, and the student housing boom of FY14 tested the limits of the building division, as well as the patience of some of us trying to get around town. With a significant increase in student housing came another significant increase: the balance available for the rental housing fund. With the addition of 4,166 units since FY14, the program has seen a marked change in its reserve over the last 3 years. With more on resident rental housing, here's Rochelle.
So, as Tim mentioned, the rental housing code budget is a small portion of the construction permit fund. The rental housing code establishes minimum habitability standards for all rental properties. About 50% of the housing stock in Eugene is rental housing. There are approximately 33,000 rental units. The program is paid for by a $10 fee per unit per year. The Rental Housing Code was adopted in 2005. When the code was created, it included an initial sunset date of December 31st, 2008. Since that time, the sunset date has been extended 3 times by City Council. On September 12, 2016, Council extended the sunset date to March 1st, 2017. The extension provides time for further discussion of the Housing Advisory Board recommendations. The recommendations include adding carbon monoxide detectors, working electrical systems, RATs, and some appliances to the habitability standards, as well as shortening some timelines when essential utilities are not operating, such as lack of heat during winter months. Additionally, Council has asked that staff provide a fund forecast, a fee analysis, and an outreach plan that addresses concerns raised regarding the lack of awareness of the existence of the code. Staff is scheduled to return to Council in December. The city has a number of other codes in place to help protect neighborhood livability. These codes are enforced by the code compliance team on a complaint-based system. Staff receive about 1,700 complaints each year. A few examples of the type of complaints staff respond to include storage of junk or garbage, dangerous buildings, odor, cars, parked in yards, hoarding, illegal signs, illegal dwellings, and animal violations. Our goal is to educate the community of the code and achieve voluntary compliance.
Good evening. I'd like to talk about where we are now as an organization with some of our services. eBuild is an electronic plan review and markup tool that we created in early 2015 and launched. Since then, current usage rates are over 80% with our customers. eBuild was a city-built program built during the recession and recovery period. We're also working on plans digitization, which we began in 2014. And it's a comprehensive program to digitize all current and archival permit and building records. These will be searchable by staff, customers, and other parts of the city organization from anywhere with an internet connection. We've also been working to ensure we're right-sizing our staffing to pre-recession levels. We have conservatively hired new staff as work demands to remain agile and flexible. We have maintained our ability to be responsive to large projects in town. Looking at where we're going, we feel that customer service drives our technology. We view the smart use of technology as essential to our ability to provide excellent customer service. This has included adding features to our website to help customers retrieve information and schedule building inspections. They can access eBuild and other records as well. Future uses of technology will include video conferencing and online scheduling of meeting and services with us. Ongoing software revision and integration. Many of our programs are city developed and require updating and further integration. This involves migrating to newer platforms and software to support our business model. Customer service-based growth and programs. Our goal is to provide as many of our services as possible, electronically or online. This is driven by the need to be responsive to our customers. We are also remodeling a portion of our facility to provide a higher level of customer service and satisfaction. The construction industry's needs have changed considerably over the last few years. More projects need phase permitting. This is where we perform site preparation and foundation review to let them get their project started. And while they're working on that, we continue with the balance of the review and oftentimes have that completed when they're ready. This is yet another way we provide flexible services while partnering with our customers. Another example of processes designed to serve our customers are our free project consultations. These have been very popular with the development community. And finally, maintaining community confidence in the safety of our built environment. As Mark spoke to earlier, community confidence in our services is paramount to our success. From permit application to final building inspection, our primary focus is to ensure that structures are safe for occupancy.
Thank you. Any questions? Scott?
A question on your number of rental housing complaints. Seems like that's going up pretty steadily there. Can you share a little bit about, or is it one area, is it all over, and are there any enforcement actions resulting from those complaints?
Yeah, so our complaints are gradually going up as we have bumped up our outreach efforts. So they're actually scattered across all of Eugene. We actually were kind of surprised by that. So there's not a real high concentration. And in fact, what we found is, initially we expected to see a lot of complaints in the student housing, the university area. And in fact, that's actually not the case. We're actually, further out west and throughout. So all of these, the whole 30, we get about 35 a year, and enforcement action happens on all of those cases to some extent. So a lot of times we can make a phone call and get a property owner to engage with the tenant. We try to do mitigation as much as possible. And then if that doesn't work, then we start the enforcement action, which includes sending out an order to correct and helping them work through those issues.
How much time does that take for each of those?
It really depends on what the issues are, because sometimes the issues are such that it requires going through the permits process, which could take a couple of weeks. So it really just depends. Some of them are really simple. Most property owners and owners are responsive, but we have had some that haven't been. We've only ended up issuing civil penalties on 4 cases. And so I think that's pretty good.
So I have a question. I hear a lot of complaints about the permitting process in general. I used to work in the atrium building, so maybe I was just in the right place for that. But it looks like with the e-build system, you engage the construction community. I'm looking at strategy 2 and the blue piece of paper. I was wondering if you could talk about that, how you engage the community and or the construction. Let's see, maintain and promote collaborative customer relationships, your customers, I should say.
So are you thinking what compelled us to kind of go the direction of
I guess I'm wondering how are your customers feeling about eBuild, and do they feel like they were heard in that process, and does it seem like it's going in the right direction?
Yeah, actually, we hear that, I would say 90% really positive feedback about it.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting to a point where sometime next year, we're trying to figure it out, we're probably going to mandate the use of it.
Okay.
And the reason for that is we wanted it to grow organically of its own momentum to a point where kind of flicking the switch and making that final step to require people to submit that way, wouldn't be really a burden for folks. And we still have some plan in place to help folks who, small businesses or something who come in with paper. We'll still accommodate them, but for the most part, we want to mandate the use of it. And the reason we can really do that is because of how popular and effective it's been. I mean, we get minimal complaints, and really the only complaints are some of the way they need to structure their submittal to us so that the system knows how to manage it in an automated kind of way, knows how to deal with versions of plans, and if they resubmit another copy to us of the same thing, how does the system know what it is, that kind of thing. And as we are able and we have the development resources, we're going to be continuing to evolve that program and hopefully be able to address some of the little places where there have been some complaint. But for the most part, it's overwhelming love of the system. And it's homegrown. Other people, like you guys may have heard somewhat, not to throw Portland out there, but the experience they're having with trying to do the same thing we did, but at a Portland scale, and they're trying to implement something that is really broad in scope, where ours was pretty narrow. But we did it homegrown. So we were able to design something that fit the way we want to do business, rather than buying something off the shelf, which we actually kind of started down that road. which would have required us to change our business practices to suit the software. And had we gone that direction, we definitely, I think, would have had a lot of pushback from the development community because we're all about being flexible and providing good service. So we created a system that allows us to do that and doesn't put any additional burden at all on the applicant. It just makes things easier. Somebody can apply for a permit, submit their drawings, go through the whole iterations of plan review, pay their fees, get their approved plans from their couch in Kansas City without ever coming to see us if they have an internet connection. And so we don't get much complaint about that.
Nice.
It's also worth noting that currently we're running about an 85% submittal rate via e-build on a completely voluntary system.
Does the system affect FTE? Like, are you able to be more efficient because of e-build, or is it the same FTE level regardless of how?
It's the same now. The vision is there'll be a savings there. We can do more with less because of the efficiencies that we'll get out of that. Mm-hmm. That's not something that we've really realized yet, but that is, I mean, that's the hope. It was one about much better service and the ability to collaborate better, communicate better with our customers, interact better with our customers that way. There's also just the kind of efficiency and sort of green perspective of getting rid of all the massive amount of paper, eliminating all the trips to our office, all of that. But then the third piece was realizing some efficiencies we're going to get, which ultimately we should see in reduced FTE. To get too far into it, but us and other people who are around the state and the country that are doing digital plan review, the actual staff time doing the review doesn't really change. It's all of the processing and handling behind the scenes, you're moving documents around. That's where the savings is, and that's hopefully where we'll realize it at some point.
Great. Jill, yeah.
Number of months of fund balance reserve and average number of inspections per inspection stop. Can you just explain to me what those are? I'm just not. I would think it would be average number of inspections per inspection stop. It'd be better to be higher, but is that right or wrong? I mean,
Yeah, I'll take the second one first, and if you want to take the
Sure.
reserve. Yeah, the average number of stops per inspector. So someone may request. We have cross-certified inspectors at a residential level.
Got it. Okay.
So someone may request a rough electrical inspection and a rough plumbing inspection on the same day.
Okay.
So one inspector can go out, make one trip out there and do 2 inspections.
Oh, I see.
That's kind of where we track that, is to see where are we kind of getting those efficiencies where we can reduce the trips and cover more inspections per person.
Yeah, that happened to me actually.
Okay.
Electrical and I think it was gas actually, right?
Yeah.
One person came out and did it. So yeah, interesting. Okay.
And then on number of months of fund balance reserve, normally government funds target about 2 to 3 months of balance reserve, just as far as an operating practice. Because the construction world can vary pretty wildly year by year, and even as we saw last year, quarter by quarter, if we looked at new single-family housing starts, and if you looked at calendar Q4, you'd say we're doomed. It's coming back. But then up Q1 the next year was through the roof. So we need to maintain a higher balance in that reserve account to make sure if we go through a prolonged time, say a 6-month, not quite dry spell, but a slower spell, that we have that fiscal cushion. Since we're wholly fee supported, it's important that we have that kind of savings account there. Does that make sense?
So, yeah, so your department is higher than, sounds recommended for other departments. I mean, other planning departments.
Because of that, I know that my apologies for my kind of robotic presentation, but the slide that showed the balance available, we shed close to $5 million in 2 fiscal years.
That's great.
So without that inflated reserve from the FY05 and 06 housing boom, we would have gone effectively bankrupt far sooner. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? And can we get a motion to approve the construction permit service profile?
Make a motion.
Moved by John, second.
I'll second.
Second by Sean. All in favor? Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
We're going to take a 10-minute break, so we'll get back together at 7:10. let's bring the meeting back together, and we'll hear from land use planning next.
We lost Robin.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait till.
Robin's gonna kick us off.
You
He's not far.
can hold up for a second.
Okay, thank you.
You guys eat. Does this work? I just want to make sure it works. Okay. Yep. There you go.
All right.
You think go long range?
No, it all got changed. It got changed to be consistent. Nobody knows where long-range planning came from.
Yeah.
Carolyn probably knows, but I didn't ask her specifically.
Might have just been there a long time. Yeah.
So picked the wrong time to duck out, okay.
No problem. Whenever you're ready.
Okay, do we do introductions or should I just go for it?
If you want to introduce your team.
Yeah, sure. My name is Robin Hostick. I'm the planning director, also the division manager for planning.
Alyssa Hanson. I'm currently the manager of the land use planning section.
And Terry Harding, I'm the principal planner, section manager for Metro and Community Planning.
So I think we have two sessions here, one for each of our, but we're all just going to sit up here because really we function as one team. So I'll just make a few introductory remarks and then turn it over to Alyssa. Actually, it's more than just a few short remarks, but essentially what I wanted to do is talk a little bit about why does planning exist and why did we create a planning division. And the history is, there's a ton of it, but I'm just going to cut to the chase and talk about the most modern view of planning. And it really started after World War II when Americans essentially fell in love with a car, right? Fell in love with suburban development. And we started to use land completely differently. This was after World War II. And cities were eating up land at a rate that nobody had ever really imagined, right? So that's what we call urban sprawl today. And it was happening all over the country. Essentially entire landscapes were changing, were gone overnight. And so in the 1960s, in the late 60s, and the early 70s, Oregonians saw what was happening in other states and passed laws to preserve really what we call the Oregon way of life. And the Oregon way of life has everything to do with the amazing natural beauty and the abundance of our state, and especially our farmlands and our forests. And this is essentially the balance that we, as a work group, are charged with striking here. And it's the fact that we uphold our laws at the state, at the federal, the state, and the local level. And how those relate to how we, meaning everyone here in Eugene, use our land. So we can preserve what's most precious about our way of life. And at the same time, those laws also encourage us to prosper. Because knowing that we as Oregonians, we can't afford to stagnate and fall behind. So our mission is to preserve our most precious values as Oregonians, while also helping our state and our community to prosper. So essentially, without the planning division, there really wouldn't be anyone to strike that balance. I mean, we're responsible for that. So quality of life basically would be at the mercy of individuals, right? Anybody could build anything, anywhere, anytime. And today that seems just totally unthinkable, right? And so that's why in 1966, so exactly 50 years ago this year, our community created the planning division. There were 5 people that worked in the planning division, 1966. Since then, our population has tripled. Planning team is not quite tripled, so it's less. And at the same time, we have we have a lot more regulations. We have bigger challenges. Our population has grown tremendously. So in a lot of ways, we're trying to do a lot more today than we were 50 years ago. So the important thing is, well, and I also like to point out that on top of that, we've faced some challenges, I think, just maintaining staffing capacity for the kinds of expectations that we have in our community around planning. So that's been a challenge. We can talk about that a little bit more if you want to, but I think the important thing is that we really have an amazing, talented, resilient team right now.
And I'm extremely proud of them, and I'm actually really optimistic about what we're going to be able to do in the next few years. And it's good because our population is growing, and the choices we make today around planning will affect our community for generations, essentially. So how we engage the public around these choices is absolutely critical. And we need to do our best to figure out what our community wants, what our community needs, make sure we follow our laws and make important progress on that work. And so looking ahead, there's just one last thing that I wanted to pitch here, and that's that I think we need to invest in communication. And if we've learned anything in recent years, it's that good communication is absolutely essential. And I think there's a huge opportunity, in my opinion, to build trust, to have better, faster, more satisfying outcomes for our community if we make that investment. And it's something that we're already working on as a team. We've done a lot around that. Done everything we can really with what we have. And to really level up in that area, we'll be looking for support eventually. And with that, I'll pass it along to Alyssa to talk about our land use planning team.
Thank you, Robin. So again, I'm going to talk about land use planning, and sometimes that's referred to as current planning or short-range planning. And what I'm going to do tonight is just give you an explanation of what we do, why we do it, and kind of where we're headed, including the opportunities and challenges that we see over the next several years. So in a nutshell, what we do is we play a key role in implementing the community's vision related to land use, and we do that in several ways. Probably the primary focus of our work is reviewing land use applications for consistency with our community values. Now, you just heard from the building permit folks, which we probably should have reversed the orders, because honestly, you would come to planning before you went to get a building permit. And in many cases, there are land uses that need to go through a review process, such as if you wanted to subdivide your land, you would need to come through land use planning before you could get building permits. So what we do is review and evaluate individual land use applications, development proposals for consistency with our land use code. And the land use code or land use regulations, they embody our community's values. They're adopted by the council. They're based on council policy and community input. These can range from, these land use applications could be subdivisions, zone changes, property line adjustments, historic landmark designations, and planned unit developments. And these are applications that are submitted by property owners, so private property owners, sometimes public land owners as well. And what our staff do is they serve as project managers of these applications from inception all the way through final decision. And that can range from attending the project consultations that you heard the building permit services folks talk about before the applications are submitted, coordinating with other affected departments, including public works, fire, building, as well as coordinating with other agencies, Lane County, eWeb. We provide a lot of information to the public and respond to inquiries from nearby property owners after we've sent them notice of this pending land use application. And we also work hard to maintain a fair, respectful, transparent, and objective process while reviewing these applications, many of which do have public review and hearing opportunities. Another big part of our work is responding to public inquiries. We staff the Permit and Information Center and provide assistance to a wide range of folks, property owners, architects, neighbors, engineers, tree professionals. We respond to calls and emails and drop-ins and questions about, what's my property zoned? What does that mean? What can I do with it? How far does my house need to be set back from the property line? Can I build a second house? Is my property eligible to be, considered as a historic landmark? We also answer questions again about the pending land use applications, and then we do a lot of work with developers, design professionals, seeking guidance before they submit applications. And then finally, kind of our other area of focus is really updating our land use regulations or our land use code, really to improve the connection between the community vision and implementation. So this is often responding to changes in technology or law or our community values as well. And we typically collaborate with the community and the Metro and Community Planning section on these land code changes, and it does require a public process and ultimately city council approval. So I just put this up there because I'd like to joke that this is how land use planners see Eugene. We see it in these colors, and these represent the different zoning designations or districts throughout the city. For instance, the blue represents public land. The cream color is our low-density residential, and that's our most predominant zone. And so folks will come to us and say, hey, I own this piece of property. How can I use this land? What can I do with it? Can I divide it? How many lots can I get? And ultimately what we will end up doing is reviewing applications such as this. This is a typical residential subdivision in North Eugene. And we will look at, how's the street layout? Does it connect to the streets, the surrounding street system? Are they preserving enough trees? Are there creeks on the property that need to be considered? How are the utilities being worked out? Are the lot sizes of adequate size to get houses on them? We also, this is where we coordinate heavily with fire and other agencies and public works as well. We also look at commercial buildings. This is a building that was reviewed at the corner, actually Valley River area. We look at it whether it meets our commercial design standards. Is there enough parking? Are the driveways in locations that are safe? Is there pedestrian access? Is there enough bicycle parking? Does it meet our land use regulations in all of those areas? This is the Emerald Village you may have read about recently in the Register Guard. It's the 22 tiny homes that are low-cost homes. They're maybe $300 a month for folks to rent these. We review this as a site review, looked at tree preservation. Is there adequate open space? Are they set back enough from the surrounding properties? Is it compatible with the area? Are they served with utilities? How is the access here? Is there enough? Well, this one probably didn't need a lot of parking, but those are the types of things that we look at in these land use applications, as well as responding to neighbor concerns or questions about them. We also administer the historic program. This is a recent example of a structure that was listed as a city historic landmark. It's a beautiful duplex in the West University area. So we do a lot of work in terms of recognizing the historic significance of buildings. So why do we do this work? Well, kind of a boring answer, but honestly, we're legally obligated to do the vast majority of what we do. The statewide planning program and the associated state laws mandate that we have zoning and land use regulations to implement that zoning. But really what we are here to do because of that is to help create a thriving community and a high quality of life. And we do that through the orderly and efficient and planned use of land and making sure that all of the uses can fit together and that there's compatibility and that we really balance the need with each of those projects that come in. We think about, okay, we do need housing, we also need to preserve some trees, and we have to balance all of those aspects. I think visuals show it a little bit better. So this is a picture looking at Spencer's Butte. This is from 1910 and doesn't show up fantastically, but the butte and the ridgeline at this point are beautifully forested. And then if you fast forward to 2016, they remain beautifully forested. And so as our city has grown, we've managed and very well to protect our ridgeline, to protect the butte in terms of tree preservation and to protect it, to limit the amount of development in that area. And honestly, for the past 40 years, we've had very specific policies and regulations that have dictated how we do that. And I think that this shows that they've been pretty successful. Our work also is about, making sure that natural resources are protected, but also that there's adequate access to the river. So, on one hand, we have the South Hills. We also have the Willamette River flowing through our town. There's making sure that there's adequate access, that there's not too intense development along the river. Housing, reviewing subdivisions, other applications for housing is a big part of what we do, ensuring that there's housing choice, housing affordability, that there's neighborhoods that people want to live in, that these homes are, compatible with the surrounding neighborhoods. We do consider design for multifamily buildings. We want to make sure that neighborhoods are connected, that folks have sidewalks, that there's street trees, that there's a great place to live. We also review applications for schools and for parks, and so we want to make sure that they're and other public institutions as well, so that there's enough land for people to recreate, to be educated. And then we also ensure that there's enough places for people to work and to shop, and that there's many ways for us to get around town, whether it's driving, whether it's walking, bike, or taking the bus. So really, through our work, as I mentioned, we really balance these things when we look at each individual application. And we use the city's policies, goals, and values to land at that final place. In terms of where we're headed, we do have some challenges, and the first is really in terms of capacity, and what I mean by that are staffing resources. We probably over the last 4 years have lent land use staff to the Metro and Community Planning team while the Envision Eugene project, the Urban Growth Boundary Project, has been ongoing. And so we've had some gaps there that we've had to fill with. Actually, it worked out really well during the recession, but as things are picking up, we definitely have some gaps, and we've been filling those with contract and temporary staff. And it is hard to fill these positions. It's not hard to get applicants. It's hard to train people up, I should say. We definitely get a lot of people, but they're really technical positions. We really have to find the right person and then train them up. So we're definitely a little challenged right now in terms of capacity. Hand in hand with that goes the fact that we've seen an uptick in applications. As our community and the state has recovered from the recession, we're definitely seeing more development activity, same with the building permit folks, which means we're seeing more land use applications and more inquiries about potential projects. As a comparison, we've seen a 45% increase in the number of applications submitted when you compare the first quarter of this year compared to the first quarter of last year. So if we follow that, we're going to see a lot of applications this year. And then also our applications that we're seeing are becoming more complex as the challenging sites within our urban growth boundary. Those are becoming a lot more common in terms of the applications we see, and these could be sites that are infill. They're surrounded by houses already. They could be sites that have steep slopes. Maybe they're on the edge of towns, or they're a little bit harder to serve. These are they're complex, meaning they take more time. They can also be more controversial, and often can lead to challenges and appeals. But on the good note, in terms of opportunities, for Envision Eugene, probably hear a little bit more about that in a minute. We are on the cusp of adopting our urban growth boundary, which is two things there, meaning we'll get a little bit of staff back, and it gives us more of an opportunity to work on those code changes, as I mentioned, revising our land use code, and we'll be able to work more on aligning our land use regulations with the vision that has come out of Envision Eugene. And then Robin had mentioned communication already, but that's a really big opportunity, I think, for our section. If you're not immersed in the land use world, it can really seem very daunting. There's a lot of jargon, there's a lot of process you have to understand, a lot of regulations that may not, I don't know why they'd make sense to somebody if you weren't involved in them. So we've been working really hard to make our materials just better, more accessible, more user-friendly, and really so that we provide better information so people feel better informed, but so that they can also become engaged in our public processes. And through that, we're embracing different technologies, making sure that we have a lot of good information on our website. We're dabbling in doing some videos. We're updating a lot of our forms, our letters, and our notices just to change the language, make them more user-friendly. And then finally, partnerships. If we do want to see development that's consistent with our community, with what the community wants to see, we know we have to work harder with the folks who are doing that development. And so we're really taking a more facilitative approach and trying to get to folks earlier in the process and talk to them about, what the community's values are in terms of, that particular type of development that they're working on. And that's really all I have to cover for our section. So happy to answer any questions.
Question. So what percentage of the work that you do is based on applications? And I'll clarify this by asking, why is this not totally self-funded by fees like the building permits?
Right. You have an excellent answer for that.
Okay.
So what percentage, we have really 3 staff that I would say the majority of what they're doing is processing land use applications. And the supervisors, a high percentage of what we do is processing land use applications.
What's the fee structure, or is there a reason that it can't be self-funded?
Yeah, I can try that one. So essentially, someone comes in for a land use permit, they pay a fee, fee comes into the general fund. Okay, the fee doesn't come into a dedicated fund for planning. So there's not a one-to-one connection between the revenue and the funding for the planning team. And that kind of cuts both ways. And one way to look at that, so from an operational perspective, when we think about economic cycles, they go like this, right? There's not a constant stream of applications. Sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less. So if your funding was dedicated, if you had 100% funding, or had, let's say, 100% cost recovery for the work that you do, you might be doing great one year. You'd have to somehow, if you didn't have enough people, you would have to staff up in a very short amount of time, but you can't do that because there's months of lag time to actually hire somebody, even more to train somebody up with the technical work that we're doing here. It really takes about 2 years for someone to really hit their stride as a land use review type person. So you don't want to lose those people either if for some reason you had fewer land use applications coming in, your revenue dropped. You don't want to just let somebody go that you just invested 2 years in. And so I think the idea behind having that disconnect to fund the planning division at a certain level for this type of work is that you kind of bridge those highs and lows. And what that means in practical terms, like what we just saw with the economic crash, right? 2010 or 2009, 2010, things just took a nosedive in terms of number of applications. We're able to kind of borrow the folks who would have ordinarily been doing land use applications and move them over to some of this long-range work, which had really ramped up. And that was convenient at the time. Now, as those applications are ramping back up, we're having a hard time pulling them back because the workload has continued to be at a pretty high level. So there are some challenges there. I think we aim for about a 60% cost recovery for land use applications, and that's about standard across the industry. Some communities try to recover more, some communities try to recover less. If you were to try to recover more, then that would just mean that the cost of doing a project would go up because your land use application fees would go up. And so I think most communities strike that balance between saying, well, some of our general fund revenues are actually going to help close that gap and hold those fees at a certain level. But every community decides for itself how to do that.
And it looks like you've cut the general fund need in half in the last couple of years. I just wasn't sure if you're aiming to be neutral at some point, or if there's always going to be a deficit. It sounds like there's always going to be a general fund need.
Yeah, that's right. I think the planning division as a whole was funded at about 21 FTE in 2000. I'm going to say 2010 roughly, and we're at about 14 FTE right now. So.
Yep. How many contract staff do you have?
Let's see, contract staff for your group.
We've got, well, to We have one limited duration and two on contract, part-time.
Does that equate to what FTE?
It's almost two FTE.
Okay.
And
Like
the-
1.75-ish.
Yeah. In the limited duration, we've had to kind of cobble things together with salary savings and other means to try to keep the staffing levels, because especially with the short-range work, you have state mandated timelines to be able to respond to applications. And so you can't just stretch it out, or you really have to be on the ball. There's a lot of notifications, there are a lot of things you have to do. You have to get it right according to state law to make it work. So it's really imperative that whatever is happening in the land use world, that we have the resources there to do it.
And when you work on some of that long-range planning for other service areas in the city, are you recouping fees from those areas, or is that all just part of your general budget?
So,
So if you're looking at zoning, or as you expand into sort of the outskirts of the city, and you look at needing to add fire service or other things like that, do you recoup any fees from
So
those services?
okay, actually, it depends. A lot of times the developers are responsible for extending sewer lines, water lines. If it's an area that needs fire, I don't know, we don't pay for it. I mean, I'm not sure entirely I can answer that question. There's a lot of projects, obviously, that would come out of the CIP, though, for some of the bigger projects.
Okay, so maybe it's my lack of understanding. So you have this sort of application from developers.
Right.
And that's 3 or so people, and you gain fees from that.
Yes.
And then you have this other long-range planning. It's not directly associated with an application.
Correct.
Are there any revenues associated with that?
It's all general fund.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it, thanks.
Any other questions for land use? All right, would someone like to move to adopt the land use planning service profile? Great. Second? Seconded by John. All in favor? Great, thank you. And now the metro and community planning.
Great. Is it a different presentation? Okay. Great, thank you. So as Alyssa said, it might have been a little better to start in reverse order. So we're building up to the long-range visioning, which then translates to land use applications and building permits. But I think you've got the idea by now. So Robin has provided the context for our division, and here's what we do in metro and community planning. So I'm going to do the same thing Alyssa did, what we do, why we do it, and where we're headed. This is our team. Alyssa's in the picture because we were borrowing her. So there are actually 10 people in the picture, but we have 8 FTE in metro and community planning. So as far as what we do, there's really 3 things, or I like to categorize them into 3 things. The first is planning and managing growth in line with our community values. So that's sort of the growth management citywide work that we do. We also do more smaller area plans, neighborhood and area planning projects, like what we've been helping in South Willamette area with. And I'll show you an example in Walnut Station. And then we have an urban design team, which was created just a couple of years ago to meet our community's expectations for better urban form. And so we have staff dedicated to producing design materials and guiding developments to meet our community's increasing expectations for better urban design. So in the first category, our long-range citywide planning has focused very much on Envision Eugene for the past 6 years. So this project was launched in 2010, and it is about the urban growth boundary, but it's about more than that. We chose at the time we launched this project to have it be more about setting a community vision for Eugene and trying to adopt our own policies and programs to support that vision. So the urban growth boundary, while it was the impetus for this project, is really one of the outcomes. One of the last things that we are going to do is adopt that line within which we will grow. Getting a little bit more specific, the Walnut Station specific area is on Franklin Boulevard near the University of Oregon. It's along the MX transit line, and so it provides more detailed planning and implementation work for an area on one of our key transit corridors. On this map I just showed you, those yellow highlight areas are our key transportation corridors in the city of Eugene. And they're, River Road, 99, West 11th and 6th and 7th, South Willamette, Franklin, and Coburg. We don't have very many. And that is where, through the process of developing our community vision, people told us they wanted to concentrate Eugene's growth in a compact development fashion and plan it in accordance with rapid transit. So you'll hear a lot about key corridors or transportation corridors and focusing our development there. So Walnut Station is one of those areas, and this plan was adopted in 2010. It contains what's called a hybrid form-based code. It focuses more on how the buildings look and how the pedestrians' experience along the sidewalk is, instead of the main focus of our land use code in the regular zones is on use categories and what you can do on a certain piece of property. So this is something we tried on Walnut Station. It's been in place since 2010, and buildings have actually been developed through the building permit process, and development is starting to take the shape that was envisioned in this planning work, so that's kind of exciting. An example of the work that our urban design team does is the Community Design Handbook. So this is a guide that's non-regulatory. It's an inspirational and guidance document that uses local examples that embrace design principles that are important to Eugene. So one of those that I've shown here is to bring farms and gardens into the city. It's one of, I want to say, 25 to 30 different principles that are organized into categories. And the response to this document has been really great. It's been a long time coming. There are those in the community who want this to go further and those who think it is unnecessary, but I think the majority of folks appreciate it as a resource. And it can kind of give you an idea of where we're headed with more direct design standards that could eventually be incorporated into our code through the land use code amendments Alyssa was talking about. But for now, this is a guidance document. We use it, intend to distribute it very widely to help property owners and community members talk about what values should be striven for when a project is being developed. And we can share it with development teams that are from out of town and say, hey, they're coming from Portland, they've done these garden apartments 14 times, but they haven't done it in Eugene. And we like to take that opportunity to show them what we value and what we would like in our city, how we'd like it to develop. So why do we do long-range planning? Well, just like land use planning, long-range or metro and community is also based in Oregon's statewide planning program. So that's the overall guidance for our work, but we also do it because Eugene residents care about the community. They want to be engaged in the actual planning. They're very, very much so engaged and vocal. So I would say Eugene residents place a high value on being engaged in community planning processes. And then thirdly, the way that we grow really impacts our triple bottom line of sustainability. So there's countless examples of this, but really the spirit of doing comprehensive planning is that it will be, your outcome will be the most efficient growth pattern for the city that's possible. And locally, we have this lens of triple bottom line of sustainability, so that allows us a really nice framework for evaluating projects, not only from an environmental standpoint, but also social and economic. So Oregon planning values, there are 19 statewide planning goals, and I just did a quick tally because I was fascinated by this. 11 out of 19 of them are related to natural resources. So there's a whole goal about farmland. There's a whole one about forest land, many about different natural resources, and 4 devoted to coastal resources, a whole goal about the Willamette River Greenway. And so it's very much focused on our natural environment, and then focuses urban growth within urban growth boundaries in cities around the state. So that's why Oregon looks the way it does. It's so beautiful outside of the cities because of our land use planning program and its pioneering vision. Some examples of our engaged community are here. We're trying new innovative tools to reach further into the community. We're finding that a lot of people want to be engaged digitally. They'll watch a video, but they won't read a report or come to a meeting. And so we're experimenting with some videos like this. I encourage you to go to envisioneugene.org and watch them. We produced 4 this summer about Envision Eugene. There's one about the urban growth boundary adoption in general. There's one about multifamily housing. There's one about our comprehensive plan, kind of a dry topic, but we put some visuals to it and made a video. And there's one more about the urban growth boundary expansion areas. So those are pretty effective, I've found, to reach folks, as is Facebook. We also do workshops with boards and commissions. This picture at the top here is a cross-section of boards and commissions from around the city, including the Budget Committee, or I might be remembering this wrong. I think we invited you, somebody at this workshop suggested inviting the Budget Committee, and then some volunteers got looped into our email for feedback on the comprehensive plan. But you're on our radar as an interested group, board, commission, committee, to participate in planning projects. And then here is an example of our staff, actually a land use planner we borrowed for the day, Althea, for a Party in the Park event. So across the city this summer, there was Party in the Parks events where we had an Envision Eugene booth, and we played a game called the 20-minute neighborhood game. And the point was to engage people in talking about what they love about their neighborhood and what their neighborhood needs. So kind of a 2-part discussion. What's working, what's great, and what's missing from your neighborhood. And we learned a lot of things from those folks. An example of the triple bottom line of sustainability is our work on 20-minute neighborhoods. So I just mentioned the game, but if you're not familiar with the concept, a 20-minute neighborhood is something that it's a goal for people to have within a short walk of about 20 minutes or less, places to shop, schools, parks, and transit within a 20-minute walk of your house. And it's an index that has been used in Portland and a growing list of other cities to try to equitably assess kind of how different areas of your city are doing in terms of city accessibility to different city services and private services like grocery stores. Where we're headed. So the challenges and opportunities for the Metro and Community Planning section are similar to the land use planning section in terms of resources. But when I was thinking about this, the one thing that kept coming to my mind was one of our biggest challenges is that more and more areas of the city want planning attention. They want to have a plan that fits their unique needs. And one of our biggest opportunities is more and more parts of the city want to have their own plan. It's the same thing, and it's limited by resources, but it's also a really great thing to have such engaged people in the community who want to have something that fits their area and can be tailored to their needs. So the 4 pictures here, just so that makes some sense, is they represent jobs, parks, schools, and homes. And those are the 4 kinds of categories of land uses that we are planning for in our urban growth boundary right now. The expansion area out by the airport will include land for mostly jobs, but also a pretty big school site for the Bethel School District and a large park, Golden Gardens Park. And then also Santa Clara is going to get a park with our UGB expansion as a community park. There is no expansion proposed for housing, and just last night we got a decision from the City Council about how to plan for our multifamily housing needs, and that allows us to finish our urban growth boundary package of documents that we'll be sending up to the state shortly. So that'll be most of our work program for the next 6 to 9 months, is managing the formal adoption process for the urban growth boundary.
Just
Yeah.
wanted to add one thing that I think we would be remiss if we didn't say that one of the most important things that we do also is work really closely with the Planning Commission. We administer the Planning Commission, we work with them all the time, both, and so 2 categories of activity for them. They're probably, I mean, you know what it's like to be on a commission and work hard and dig through a lot of documents. Planning Commission is one of the hardest working commissions in the city. They have thousands of hours of work. Collectively, it's amazing. They're very dedicated. They work on 2 kinds of work. One is quasi-judicial, and that's for any kind of land use applications. So they have a legal role in deciding land use issues. Sometimes it's staff, sometimes it's Planning Commission, sometimes it's a hearings official. So there's a variety of ways that they get involved. But there's a lot of work around that, especially with challenging, controversial applications. The other thing that they do is legislative work. So anytime that we amend our regulations, adopting the urban growth boundary, any of those things, they have an important role to play, because legally the Planning Commission needs to do kind of the groundwork of all of that, figure it out, make a recommendation, make an official recommendation to the City Council before the City Council can make a decision and adopt any kind of new regulations. So they have a very important role to play. The other thing that we do, we have a historic review board, as Alyssa mentioned, another group of volunteers that work very hard on historic review issues. So.
Great, thank you. Any questions?
And I go back because I have a picture of one of our hardworking planning commissioners. This is Bree Nicolello at one of the Party in the Park events.
One question. So the new urban growth boundary, is that designed to accommodate the new residents? That's the 20-year plan for the 34. So is it particularly attached to that number, or is there some leeway in that number?
It is very attached to that number, yes. There's an adopted population forecast, which is close to 34,000 for a 20-year planning period, which runs from 2012 to 2032. And our urban growth boundary is supposed to contain exactly the right amount of land, magically, to accommodate that number of people and a certain number of jobs that we're planning for. The good news about that is that in the very beginning, it became important to community members that were involved, as well as our council, to create a growth monitoring program, a very detailed and intensive growth monitoring program that we're in the process of creating to monitor our growth as soon as we adopt the urban growth boundary. And so we'll be doing check-ins much more often than we have. We've never done a comprehensive evaluation of our urban growth boundary before. And so we're creating something brand new and a system to monitor our growth as soon as we adopt it.
And by, you mean the number of people that start moving into the new expanded area?
Well, for planning, we use a population projection for planning purposes, because we're always looking 20 years in the future. But we will be monitoring development statistics such as the split of housing, referred to as housing mix. So how many of the homes built were single family and how many were multifamily. A lot of the statistics around population, like persons per household, do come from the census, and so we update those assumptions periodically as well. But yeah, where is the development happening? Was it redevelopment? Did it take any development subsidies to accomplish it? And all those kinds of things will be part of the monitoring.
How will, so
once Envision Eugene's adopted, how will staffing change?
Mhm.
How do you feel about that, given the workload? Is it
Good question. It's not anticipated to really take a dive in terms of need because this first adoption package is the urban growth boundary itself and everything required to accompany it, like necessary to accompany it. But there's much more involved in implementing Envision Eugene. So I mentioned the comprehensive plan. We're bringing forward a portion of the comprehensive plan with the urban growth boundary, but there are a number of other topics and chapters in the comprehensive plan that still need to be written through a public process following UGB adoption. So it will continue for the foreseeable future at a similar resource need.
Well, I'd just add on to that. I would say that over the last 5 or 6 years, as the Envision Eugene project has continued and kind of evolved over that time, I'd say the needs have some more like stacked up as that time has gone on, because it was really unpredictable in the beginning. How long is this going to take? When will it be done? What do we do afterwards? In the intervening time, I would say there have been a lot of needs that have come forward. Recently, there have been a lot of other neighborhoods coming forward saying, hey, when can we get in line, or can you come and do some planning in our neighborhood? We have this and this and this need. And you say, well, there's a few other ones ahead of you in the queue. We don't know exactly when we're going to be able to get to those. So it's really a question of timing. And then there are a whole range of other issues, I think, that have emerged and kind of blossomed in that time. Like a good one that you've all heard about, I'm sure, is housing affordability. Now, that doesn't land squarely in our wheelhouse, but that's something that is going, I would say it's at least got one foot in our wheelhouse, because how we use our land, how we regulate our land, is how we invest in it, what kind of partnerships we create, has everything to do with affordability, housing affordability, in addition to the prosperity aspects. They're more kind of in the community development world. So that's just one example. There are other examples when you think about our transit network and how we do coordinated land use and transportation planning with that transit network, so that we don't have transportation folks over here planning in vacuum, then we have planning folks over here doing something different. They really need to line up, and we really need to be smart about how they line up and have those conversations at the same time, ideally, in the communities. So we have to be pretty nimble. A lot of these things, if we don't pay attention to one of them, it's going to pop up somewhere else, and we'll end up kind of paying for it anyway somehow. So we're really trying to figure out how we're going to handle this kind of large set of long-term needs, many of which are not resourced. We don't know how they're going to be resourced. So it's we haven't figured out what that balance is yet. And I think when the urban growth boundary is adopted, we also have a second phase of work to create our own comprehensive plan that isn't finished yet. So it's really just phase one of a whole set of work, because as the project has kind of progressed, we've had to really pare it down and simplify it just to get the thing done, because it's a very, very difficult thing to do. Communities all over the state will tell you the same thing, right? So once that's adopted, we'll have to launch into a phase two, and that's another pretty big effort. So definitely agree with what Terry's saying.
Well, and things like the growth monitoring program really are implementing Envision Eugene, and they're ongoing implementation items. Like, it's not something that is ever actually going to be done. We'll be growth monitoring forever, as long as we have a plan to monitor.
I just had one other comment, really. It's great to see the emphasis on communication. That's obviously our community is craving that, and I haven't been to the website in a long time, but I'll definitely check out those videos. I like that you guys are looking to different ways to communicate. That's really encouraging. Any other questions or comments? All right, does someone want to make the motion?
Sure, I motion.
You move to approve the Metro
Yes.
community planning?
I move to approve the service plan, yes.
Great. Do I have a second? Great. All in favor? Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments before we wrap up? Anything from staff? Good. All right. We're adjourned. We'll see you next week.